We had an interesting day at the range the other day. We had quite a few weird things happen to us while we were test firing some 22 caliber rifles and pistols. One of them here on tape we'll share with you. Even though it started out as a review of this 22 caliber dedicated upper by Tactical Solutions for the AR15 platform, first off we forgot the rear sight, so it wasn't going to be an accuracy test. But because we had tested it about a week before with some really poor ammunition and had a lot of problems, we wanted to test it with a few types of ammunition to rule out any issues with the mechanics of the upper. And then this happened. So it's called a case rupture. It's kind of startling. Obviously, it's a malfunction. It's something that's not supposed to happen. But again, it's an opportunity to show you something that happens occasionally when shooting. So first thing you see is a lot of smoke comes out. The action doesn't cycle properly. Now this time we happen to notice that the round hit on the berm out there, which is good because sometimes you want to be concerned that there's no bullet in the barrel. It's not a big issue with pistols, but with a rifle it can be an issue if there's not enough power pushing that bullet all the way down the length of a rifle barrel. You may have an issue with a barrel or a bullet obstructing the barrel. So the next thing you want to do is keep the barrel pointed downrange, of course. You want to pull the magazine. And in this case, what happened, the case ruptured. In other words, the round wasn't fully seated in the chamber. The chamber is the part of the barrel that the bullet sits in. Since it wasn't seated completely, there was some exposed case extended out behind there. And when the firing pin hit the primer and the round went off, the high pressures from the gunpowder burning inside of the case were able to split the thin layer of the thin wall of copper and blow some of that explosion backwards instead of just pushing the bullet down through the barrel. That's why we saw that smoke come out, and I felt a little bit of powder burn on my hand that came through between the upper and lower receiver on the AR-15. Now it was enough of an explosion to push the bolt back, enough that the next round was stripped up from the magazine. However, since the ruptured case never extracted from the chamber, that new round had nowhere to go, so it jammed itself up between the bolt carrier and the charging handle. So I used a knife there to pick that out of there. There's a little issue with the rim fire. You don't want the primer to go off, but they're not so delicate that you can't clear them from a malfunction like that one. Next, we pulled out the ruptured case, and you can see here a little clearer what happened. The round wasn't fully in there, so that gave it some area for the unsupported case to blow through and blew a lot of gunpowder out into the action. So the next step, now that the gun's clear, we want to take it apart and just inspect the parts for any problems. We want to clean it up a little bit and lube it up just so that it's operational again. Now, one of the nice things about running a 22 caliber is there's very little chance that this is actually going to damage the firearm, especially on any quality or any good manufacturer. This one's got a lot of steel parts. However, there are some aluminum parts, so we did want to inspect it. It's not that we want to be careless and assume anything. We also want to make sure there's no debris left over, any spent pieces of brass or um, anything else that might be fouling up the action. Everything looked pretty good. Of course, it's pretty dirty in there. And that is definitely an issue with the 22, but we're not out here shooting a lot of rounds. So the next step was just to lube the bolt carrier a bit on any of the bearing surfaces, any of the surfaces that touch or rub against each other. Then again, we'll give this one a thorough cleaning back at the shop. Putting everything back together. And then we just had a couple more minutes before we had to leave, so we just wanted to shoot that final round out of the magazine, make sure everything's in good working order. And it was. So again, it wasn't the best review of the upper or the ammo or anything else, but at least it gave us the opportunity to show something that happens occasionally when shooting, and hope that was interesting. As always, thanks for watching.
The guys and gals of GunWebsites.com encourage you to take a CCW class every year, practice at least once a month, and carry every day. Thanks for watching GunWebsites.com.